you're in YouTube or whether you're on Facebook or some other channel like that. What I'm going to try and do is every Monday, I'm going to try and go live at some point and just chat with you a little bit to give you something to work on for the week. So this week, what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about position shifting. So let's say maybe you're in a place where you're learning some of your positions, whether it's pentatonic or diatonic. Maybe you need some help trying to move back and forth between one position to the next. You know, when we practice, oftentimes we learn how to practice, you know, going up and down each position, that sort of thing. And what I want to try and help you with is shifting back and forth. So again, if you can do me a favor, just chat. Let me know if you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, wherever you are. Hey, Maddie. Hey, Christian. So let's go ahead and get started here. Again, I don't want to take a lot of your time, but I just want to give you something to think about a little bit. So one of the most important things to learn how to do is, you know, you learn how to play licks, or you learn a specified idea that, you know, is going to be really powerful and awesome when you play it. Hey, Brian, watching from the dental office. And so what we want to do is learn how to meander in between these really great ideas that you have. So maybe you know, you've been working on a particular lick that you really love, and you want to keep going. Hey, everybody, Dancing Flames is here. We got all kinds of people. This is awesome. Jill from London. Mike is here. Hey, Mike. Demetrio from Calgary. This is great. Okay, so what I want you to think about is, I'm going to call it plotting points, is what I call it a lot, is when you've got some ideas, maybe you're playing a cover song and there's some parts of the solo that you want to play, or you've written your own solo for whatever reason, an original song or a cover tune or whatever it might be. And hey, everybody. Hey, Armando. Hey, William. Awesome. So you've got these parts that you want to try and connect. What we do in between those parts is what I refer to as meandering, which is really just our availability of being able to move around the fretboard. That's what we're looking for, okay? Looks like everybody can see me okay. George says he can't see me. Let me know if you can see and hear me okay. Looks like everybody seems to be doing okay, but let me know for sure if it's working. So anyway, what I want to do today is talk to you about position shifting. Okay. Hey, Jeff. Hey, William. Okay, perfect. Looks like everything's going good. Okay, so when I play, what I want to start doing is thinking about how I move from point A to point B, and those points for us right now are going to be positions. So let's say, for instance, I'm playing, again, I always try and play like an A minor pentatonic just to keep everything constant from lesson to lesson, and then you can move them in whatever key you want. So let's say I'm in A minor pentatonic, and I want to move down, okay? So I know I've got my, what I'll call my fifth position, sitting below me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and move, and at some point I have to decide what finger and what fret I'm going to shift on to get down into that fifth position, right? So if I'm here, let's say so what I'm doing is I'm visualizing the first position, and I'm visualizing the fifth position, right? And now I have to decide what finger and what fret I'm going to do this position shift on, okay? So let's see, let's say I'm going to go on my first finger, on the third string, so I'm on the fifth fret. Well, I'd have to slide down then to the second fret, because that's what's available on that string in that position. Right? So what I want to do then is get used to having that be my position shift. Maybe I'm playing up here in A minor pentatonic, and then right there, I drop down. Okay, now once I've dropped down into that fifth position and I'm at the second fret, I have to decide what to do next, right? So when I'm here, now I could move around, or maybe what I'll do is I'll just use this as an effect and I'll drop down into that fifth position, second fret, and then I'm going to slide right back up. Hey, Anthony. Hey, Mayo. Hey, Andreas. So I go to my pinky or my third finger, whichever one I want, on the fifth fret, which is now in this fifth position, and I'm going to slide, and now I'm right back home again in that first position. Now, remember, as I talk about these things, let's see, Cezanne says, can't see the fretboard. Subtitle blocks the fretboard. Subtitle? Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know anything about a subtitle, but I can look at trying to get that removed. Or maybe you can just shut it off on your end too. I'm not sure. Okay? So the thing to understand is when I'm doing this, don't really worry about whether or not you are sliding or picking. That's a you thing, right? So don't worry about whether I'm sliding and whether you should slide. You know, I might play it and pick, but I like the sound of a slide. You see what I mean? So it's a really nice way of just being able to shift. And again, as I'm playing, I'm telling myself I shouldn't do that. Don't worry about how fast you're going, okay? Don't worry about the speed. Always remember, one of the great things about the guitar is being able to breathe. And breathing for us means that we either pause or we stop and take a breath. And we breathe, okay? That's how we breathe on the guitar, is we stop playing. So when I play, I might come down here and hang out for just a little bit, and then, thanks, Dale. Hey, Ben, thank you, man. You see, so I can breathe. Now, that's one way of being able to do a position shift, and you can do it on any string. If you were playing... And you just have to practice these things. So don't feel like, you know, again, when I was younger and I would play what I call with blinders on, where I would play a position, and then, you know, out of obligation, because I'm learning how to play guitar, I would shift into another position. But usually when I'd get there, I didn't know that position very well. But even if I did, then I'm, again, playing up and down with blinders on it. What I want you to start thinking about is you can just bop down into that position and then just head back if you want to, right? Whether you're physically sliding or whether you're shifting, right? Either way you want to think about it is perfectly fine. Okay? Hey, Andre. Happy Monday to you too out there. So what we can do then, let me show you this one, because this is another one that I really want you to think about. Now, of course, this is going to require you to know more positions, and so don't get stressed out if you don't know these. It's okay. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start up here in the first position again. And this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide into the second position. So the second position is sitting right over here. Right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide in on the third string. So just like I slid down to the fifth position on the third string, this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide up, but I'm going to slide from the fifth fret. Hey, Dean from sunny Florida. We are not sunny here in North Dakota right now, so I envy you. Okay, so now I'm in that position. And again, I could slide in, and maybe I work that position for a while, or maybe I just go back into... See how I just turned around here. Good morning from the Philippines. Hey, nice to have you here. Where should you start learning scales? I would most certainly start with pentatonic and just learn one position of pentatonic, just the main position. The minor pentatonic, for instance, just the first position is a great place. Hello from North Dakota. Zemail looks like he's from Scotland. That's awesome. So what we're going to do here is as I shift up in here, I want to show you something else. What I could do, now I'm going to drop back to the 7th fret, and then I'm going to go to the 10th fret. So I'm working in the second position here, and watch this. I'm going to slide up to the 3rd position. So I went... And see how awesome those little slides sound? And you can phrase it however you want. Again, so much of this stuff that I'm going to try and talk to you about when I do these live sessions is not how fast you can do them. The problem, again, and I had a lot of problems when I was learning how to play when I was younger, but it's not just trying to do everything at maximum speed. Sometimes what you have to do is just take an idea, like even a slide or this position shift thing that we're talking about right now, and learn how to utilize it so it sounds musical before you start worrying about 35 other things. And I know that's hard to do, especially nowadays, you know, with all the wonderful content that's out there. I saw Ben was just on here, Ben Eller. You know, there's a lot of great places you can go for content. But don't get overwhelmed by doing too much content at the same time, because if you do that, then you wind up not really being able to use any of this stuff. Hey, Jack. So I want you to think about, you know, maybe, and I'll talk about this all the time, but use less content, but learn how to use it musically, right? It sounds like a Randy Rhoads solo. Okay, so let's keep going. So I just shifted up, and then I shifted up again, and right there I'm on my A. See, so I could play something. Sorry about that. I want to shift on my third string. I want to keep what I'm talking about. And then right here. Now I could go back here and go to my third finger right here where I just was and watch this. Again, subtle, but now I'm in the fourth position. You see? Hey, Steve. Thank you so much. I just can't hang out while you're at work. I get it. Just watch it later. You'll be fine. So learning how to do these small, subtle position shifts without always having to think when you shift, you have to start doing that. You don't have to do that. You could just shift up, maybe utilize one other string, and then slide back. But always remember, think about two things. Think about number one, what finger you're going to slide on, and number two, where are you going to slide to? Because it makes all the difference in the world. If I'm on the second string, and let's say I'm back in my first position here. Hey, Green Mile. Hey, Edison. So if I was playing 5 and 8 right here, right? I'm playing those two notes. If I slide up to the 8th fret with my first finger, and now I can work on this side of the position. I can go up. Right? If I'm in this on this 5-8 again and I slide up with my pinky, I've got to work my way downward on that string. Again, I can connect to other strings and that sort of thing. But just think about that a little bit. How do you break musical patterns? When trying to improv between two different backing tracks, my improv seems to sound the same. There's so many ways to do that, and that's one of the reasons why I'm going to try and go live each week and explain this to you. But part of it is you have to understand, John, when you practice, if your daily routine of practice is practicing, rudiments, like practicing your scales up and down and things like that, and don't get me wrong, it's all good. So I'm never saying that don't do that. Yes, you should do that. So I'll say that right away. But there's a difference between rudimentary practice and creative practice. When you're trying to be creative, you're trying to take what you can see and your availability of being able to move around with what you can see and put those together and then add phrasing and melody and all these kind of things together. Thank you. Thank you so much. So the key is to start getting more creative and not make your solo sound like scales is don't play scales. Now, obviously you're playing a scale, right? But don't just go to downpick like Hetfield. Look up my 3-minute practice. There's a 3-minute exercise or something it's called. Just go on YouTube and look for that, and that'll help you to learn how to downpick faster. So instead of playing like that, you learn how to break it into pieces. Like even just take 2 strings. I always think like Gary Moore. Like just take 2 strings, 4 notes, and hey, love from India, love from North Dakota, my friend. And you just learn how to try and sing with your guitar. And now with this little sliding we've got, see how you can make it sound more musical instead of just patterns. And again, don't get me wrong, I love patterns, okay? But think about it. Thank you, Corey. You see what I mean? So that's what you start trying to work with. So with this position shifting that we're talking about today, I just want you to start thinking about that a little bit. So you can always shift in, again, finger and fret, think about those. When you shift in, you have to decide what you're going to do. Either you're going to maneuver through that new position, or you're simply shifting in and then shifting back out. Right now, Lance, I'm using the Kemper amp is what I'm using. And then Kevin says, speaking of downpicking, is it better to pick heavier or lighter and strings? It's all preference. I use pretty darn light strings because as I get older, it's just easier for me to manipulate the strings. So I use lighter strings, which also means I tend to use a bit of a lighter approach. Okay? So anyway, hopefully that helps you a little bit. So let's stop there. That'll give you something to work on. Again, you can always come back and watch this later. Do me a favor. Always, if you can, subscribe to my channel either on Facebook or YouTube. Share the video. I would sure appreciate that. And you can always head to GuitarZoom and check out my guitar courses. But most importantly this week, stay positive and keep practicing. And again, don't always overwhelm yourself. Try and just take one little idea. Even if you could take this position shifting idea and practice it for a week or two. We're going to talk about phrasing. We're going to talk about all kinds of tips each week when I go live. We're going to talk about different kinds of things. But it all just summarizes to the same thing, which is learning to slow down your thought process, learning to slow down your playing a little bit, and to learn to think more creative. Okay? Let's see here. I use a Kemper amp. Would it be possible to share your profile with us? Yeah, I could throw a couple profiles up there. I think that'd be very easy to do. So I'll get to that sometime this week, okay? So everybody, take care and stay positive and keep practicing, and I'll see you for sure next Monday. I might wind up going live before that, but I'll see you next